Now, setting the music aside for a second, I want to look at this album cover. This album has become such a big deal. I mean, what did it sell? Like 8 million copies now? It's unbelievable how many this went on to sell. Because of that, this has now become one of the most iconic and timeless album covers from that era. This cover was something that was put together by James Hetfield and Peter Mensch. Peter Mensch was their manager. He was part of Q Prime. Apparently, James had sketched it out and they had this idea and they gave this to a guy named Don Brautigam who painted this picture. And there are things that are the obvious things that we always notice on this picture. But to me, the real message of this album cover is not the things that are so obvious to see. And I want to talk about this for a second. So first of all, of course, up in the corners, everybody's seen this before, you've got these hands. And kind of one of the interesting things about these hands, these fingers that you see up there, is they don't have fingernails. Apparently, I think that when James Hetfield had kind of sketched it out, they didn't have fingernails, so they just kind of left it that way. At least that's the way I understand it. Anyway, but there's got these hands up here. And then, of course, they have the strings, that are going down here to the crosses. And interestingly, the strings are in an M shape. You see that right there, which is kind of following the pattern from Ride the Lightning, which I have right here, which is the same thing. The lightning bolts make the M shape. Metallica is also written in, they put this in kind of a marble, which to me symbolizes the permanence of what's going on down here. So now you look down here and you see this field of crosses, and they seem to be implying, something related to the military, of course, because you have the helmet over here, and then you have the dog tags. But I think that incorporating that stuff is not necessarily supposed to imply that this is military related. I think that's supposed to bring out another symbol. Because if you listen to James Hetfield talking about what the meaning of Master of Puppets is, and he said this in many interviews since they put this out, there isn't any one specific thing. This has to do with being manipulated or being controlled by a person or by a substance or whatever it happens to be. That's just the general theme here. But I think that is supposed to bring out another symbol. I used to live in Denver, Colorado. Most of my life we lived there. And when Memorial Day would come around, frequently we would take our kids out to Fort Logan National Cemetery, where people that had served in the military, that's where they're buried. And it's this massive place, and you have the headstones just lined up, and it's kind of an amazing place to go. And we wanted to take the kids there so that they could experience it, and we'd take them there and we kind of explain, this is, these are people that fought for the country, et cetera, et cetera. We just wanted them to develop kind of a respect for that. Now, if you've ever been to a national cemetery, a military cemetery like this, there's one there's one thing that you instantly notice about it. It's that it is so well manicured. The bushes are taken care of, the trees are taken care of, and the grass. The grass is cut, it is well manicured. And that does a couple of things. It, first of all, shows respect for the people that are there, the fact that the place is so well kept. But there's another thing that it does. It's a symbol that we remember that they're there. The fact that people are regularly taking care of the place, that they're trimming that grass around those headstones, is a symbol of we remember you. And that, to me, is the ultimate message on the artwork on this album. Because you'll instantly notice the difference when you look at this right here. We have all the crosses, in line and all the other stuff going on here, the strings and everything. But what we don't talk about, I rarely hear people talk about, is the weeds, the overgrowth. The fact that this cemetery on the cover of this album is neglected. And to me, all this other stuff is incidental to that. Because when you think about this message that they talk about with Master of Puppets being manipulated or being controlled, when you allow yourself to be manipulated, when you allow yourself to be controlled by a person, by a thing, whatever it happens to be, a couple of things happen. You lose your identity. The thing that makes you unique goes away. And what else? If you become just part of the crowd, if you lose your identity, it's very easy to forget you. You become forgotten. And so the message to me of this album cover, when we start talking about Master of Puppets, yeah, you have all this stuff, but it's the fact that we have these anonymous crosses, no name on them, utterly anonymous, and they're forgotten, which is an amazing symbol for the message of so much of this album.